Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, one and all. Thanks for joining us in the Voice of CIO podcast. I'm your host, Suresh GP, and today I have a great friend and an esteemed colleague, Sabi, joining us from all the way from the West Coast. So thanks, Sabi, for taking time today to be with our viewers and share your insights in your journey as a CIO, CISO for a long period of time. So, welcome to the podcast, and I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, no, thank you, Suresh. I'm super excited to join you today. Yeah, it's good evening, almost good evening for me.
Yeah,
It's about 4 o'clock, so excited to join you on today at this episode, and excited to share some of my journey, my learnings, my scars, my wins, everything during our conversation today.
awesome. So, Sabi, for our viewers, just give us a little bit of a rundown of how you became a CIO and what's been the journey. And then you had a great, a stint in being CIO and CISOs in different places. So, just give us a little bit of how did you move up the ranks to become a CIO?
Yeah. So Suresh, when I was born or when I was going to school, I never one day had this vision that one day I will be a CIO,
Right,
right? Even I had no clue what a CIO was
right,
growing up. All I wanted to do was to do a degree in computer science.
right,
And the reason for that was better job opportunities. I was actually born in India, grew up in India, did my bachelor's in computer science, and then worked for an Indian multinational firm called L&T Infotech. So
right,
started as a software developer. We're doing, I still remember 1999, 2000, dealing with Y2K, doing all the coding in Java, EJB, Enterprise Java Beans.
right.
So that was the era. And then I left L&T Infotech, worked there for about 2 years, and joined GE Capital and moved into .NET, ASP programming language. And then 2003, I will say early 2000, late 2002, early 2003, I came to United States. I went to school here, did my master's in engineering and technology management, and I was, the reason for that was I was applying for management position because back in India, working for GE, I was working as assistant manager software development. And so
Mm,
I come to United States and I say, okay, I want that management job, right? So I
right,
started applying and I was rejected every time. And I was like, I'm first one in my family to come here, knew no one. And I was like, okay, how do you get to that management position? I
right,
love that role. So I met somebody at my temple, and I shared my struggle with him. I was
mm,
like, I'm not able to uh, get that management role here. He said, you should get some a degree here, maybe MBA or something like that, or MS, which will help you. So that's where I still wanted to be connected to technology. So I did my master's in engineering and technology management, and I went back into the field to get into the management.
sure.
Still same struggle.
Right.
Every time said, hey, you don't have experience managing US teams. And I was like, if you don't give me the experience of managing US teams, where I'm gonna get that experience, right? Same chicken and egg uh, problem which we have heard about. So I started as a software developer working for City of Portland. I was doing some consulting, and then I had my son. My wife said, "No more consulting. You need to settle down.
Right.
I need all the help." I was like, yes, I can totally understand it. And then I joined City of Portland in 2005 as a software developer. And guess who I always wanted to become? That application development manager, right? That
Right.
management, right? That was my goal.
Right.
Okay, I need one day I need to get there. That was it, right? So was working there, and then I said, okay, how do I get to us from a software developer to a next role?
Right.
Right. So in my organization, I started looking at, okay, who are the folks, who are these people whom everybody talks about, who are the leaders, amazing leaders who get
Sure.
things done. And I wanted to identify them and wanted to see, okay, what is one thing which I can get from them, right?
Mm,
So I identified three folks, and everybody would love them. They will talk very highly about them. very respectful, and say that, these are the folks who are like the rock stars of the
Right.
organization. In
Right.
any organization, you have these rock stars. Like,
Absolutely.
man, one day I want to be like them. Let's see what is one common thing between all three if I can grab it.
Hmm.
Can you guess what was one common thing between all three?
Leadership, communication.
It's interesting. Leadership, all three were leaders, but here's one interesting thing. All three in their signature line had this acronym called PMP.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I was like, what is PMP?
Right.
Right? And then I figured out it's project management
Management
professional
professional. Yeah.
certification, right? I said, if I want to be like them, I need to get my PMP.
Right.
Okay. So I got my PMP on, I still remember the date because it was a tough exam to pass, August 25th, 2008. And I became a project manager. Um, and then I became a business relationship manager after
Right.
that. And then I became a application development manager. And then I was like, that was like 2012. I was like, am I done?
Hmm.
Like, why? A lot of self-reflection. Like, first 6 months coming back home, coming every day, coming back home, I was like, what is my life's purpose?
Hmm.
Right? Because before that, my purpose was application development manager.
Correct.
And once you get there, then you realize, okay, am I done in my life? Like, what else is in there, right?
Correct.
It did a lot of reflection, and it came back to this single thing, that my purpose in life is to help as many individuals as I can by making an impact, right? So
Right.
it wasn't about technology, which I was so close to, but it's always about people,
Right.
right? That's the shift which I made in internally 2012. And then I became a PMO manager. And I was doing that fine until one day my boss, who was the chief technology officer at City of Portland, one day during my one-on-one check-in, he comes to me and said, Sabi, have you ever jumped from a plane? I was
That's
like,
right.
no. He was like, are you interested? I was like, no. He was like, guess what? I want to assign you to this project. That project was going on for 10 years, had failed multiple times. Previous four project managers were either fired or put in different roles. Even it was like a hot potato. Number one technology complex project at City of Portland. So I share a story about that. Why I said yes, but I said yes. So that was February 2018. We went live on just before pandemic.
Hmm.
And then I moved into a different role at the city as a business solutions division manager. And then this position opened up during COVID nearby home. It was in higher education. So I got into that role as a CIO and a CISO for a community college here, about 20,000 students, three different campuses. So that has been my journey in getting to that CIO CISO role.
Awesome. So you have led technology teams across public sector and higher education. So what are some of the leadership lessons that shaped your journey? Because you really were a hardcore technologist to moving towards the CIO leadership. What's the shift? Because a lot of people love to be a CIO one day, but I'm not sure that everybody has that skills and competencies to build that. So what were some of your leadership lessons as you shift from a
Yeah.
paradigm part of the application manager to the roles that you have done towards the CIO and CISO's role?
It's always about people,
Hmm.
right? Yes, you need to learn and understand technology, but one of the things which I share with folks is, there is in terms of complexity, there are three kinds of leaders, or three levels of leadership, right? Number three comes in when you're a boss, you're a supervisor, you're a manager,
Hmm.
right? You have the power, you have the authority,
Right.
right? But that comes at number three. Number two comes in when you're a project leader.
Hmm.
You don't have any power, you don't have any authority, but guess what? You're still responsible for delivering on those
Milestone.
initiatives, those projects successfully.
Correct.
So you need a very different skill set, ability to build relationships, ability to motivate your team, ability to look at the overall bigger picture and get the team. Like in project management, they said one of their jobs is to herd cats
Hmm.
going in one direction, right?
Right.
So you need a very different skill set to herd all those cats going in one direction, wear multiple hats. So that's number two. But the most important, the most difficult at number one is if you become a volunteer leader.
Hmm.
If you lead an organization of volunteers still delivering on those services
Hmm.
where they are not getting paid, that's where you need a very different skill set,
Right.
a skill set to influence people,
Right.
how you can influence someone. And that's what I very quickly in my experience, I was a part of PMI at
Hmm.
that time when I
Right.
was a project manager, right? So I became the president of the chapter and I sharpening my skills how to influence people
Right.
because you're always selling, right? So
Correct.
I became director of volunteers and I was always selling the value of membership. I was sharpening my skills.
Sure.
And project management helped me to get all different skill sets, but it's basically leading a volunteer organization really helped me to
Hmm.
build me that confidence to lead. So if somebody says, Sabi, I want to become a CIO, I was like, okay, let's give you a playing ground. Go and join a local nonprofit organization.
Oh.
Maybe your PMI. Here, I'm now part of SIM, Society for Information Management, or
Right.
any local nonprofit. Be on the board, become the president, lead that organization. If you can lead that successfully, you're ready to become a CIO.
That's a very powerful way to look at it. And it's interesting that you say, because I'm trying to draw parallels about my journey towards that whole part of it. And you are talking about purpose driven leadership, which
Yes.
also means that first give before you gain, right? It's a very powerful way to look at it. And one of the principles of an organization like BNI, Business Network International, we say is givers gain. So I think it's a very important part of giving back to the community, taking the leadership, taking initiatives. Nobody is going to give you everything, right? You have to start to steer in the direction. You don't have funds available. You still have to be innovative towards playing around this whole initiatives part of it. But it's also that what you said really struck because you are trying to build your followers. The followers are inspired by a purpose on and the direction that you're leading it from the front. I mean, the big great leadership team that we have all seen has been single person driving change, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, whoever it is, it's just one person because of the purpose. But I love the part you talked about getting it out, going into the ground, exploiting your skills and then moving up. So it's so much important to take the time and effort to run this.
100%. You're gonna face so many challenges. It's gonna help you to build that resilience which you need
Right.
as a CIO, right? Getting a certification on Google or cloud is not gonna help you to become a CIO,
Right.
right?
Correct.
Yes, you need that technical knowledge,
Correct.
but 85% of success comes from leading and dealing with people.
Correct.
And just do that.
And absolutely, you're right, because there's a lot of uncertainty today in this world with AI coming in, with tokens being exhausted and stuff like that. But let's talk a little bit about some of those digital transformation initiatives. One of the most abused words in the market with the world of transformation, whether it's digital transformation or business transformation. So, a lot of initiatives struggle, right? From your experience, why do projects face challenges even when the technology works? Because I'm running against the new shiny technology that could make my world a much better place to live in, but still I struggle. So,
Yeah,
any thoughts on why it is not working and what
yeah,
are people
yeah.
finding it difficult?
Absolutely. Just for that, I have written a book, you know, and the book is called Scared to Cares,
Right.
leading digital transformation without chaos. Because when you look at these complex transformations, as you said, digital transformation, instead of a digital transformation, it's more like a business transformation.
Correct.
And even to the next level, I will say it's a people transformation,
Correct.
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Technology is a part of that. But what I have seen in multiple years of experience, these digital transformations fail. There was a data which said 84% of these transformations are failing.
Hmm.
92% of these fail because of number one reason, people.
Hmm.
52% fail because of communication.
Right.
Okay. Now, when these organizations are going through these complex transformations, it's a lot of pressure.
Correct.
It's a lot of stress. And what I've seen multiple times is leaders go into that scare mode.
Right.
Okay. Scare is an acronym, SCARE. Let's start with the very first one, stress.
Hmm.
Now, there's a good stress and there's a bad stress,
Correct.
right? We see the conditions which are happening right now, the speed of change which you're seeing right now, the fear of missing out, the AI piece. Everybody's running after the shiny thing, right? Without looking at the return on investment. The boards are asking, what are you doing with the AI, right? Do you have these transformations which you have to do? You have a you have a system which is 25 years old, which still needs to move to SaaS or move to the cloud. Every day you are being attacked. Cybersecurity is a huge challenge for that.
Correct.
So leaders are under a lot of stress. And once they go under bad stress, they become overwhelmed.
Hmm.
Once the leader becomes overwhelmed, their prefrontal cortex, the front part of the brain, shuts down.
Right.
Their ability to make good decisions, wise decisions, go away because
Right.
they are in that fear or flight mode,
Correct.
right? So leader is thinking, okay, I'm making decisions. Why nothing is happening? Because the priorities are shifting. The message has become unclear. Everything becomes urgent. Yesterday was Monday, it was urgent. Wednesday, something else becomes priority. And on
Right.
Friday, you come back and ask the team, like, why nothing is being done.
Right.
So that puts the team in the chaos mode,
Right.
which is the C. Right? So when the team is under a lot of stress and chaos, when the leader, it puts the team under anxiety. And the reason for that is because now the leader is micromanaging why things are not moving,
Right.
why the project is stuck, why are we not able to make progress. And they start making decisions behind closed doors.
Right.
And the team is under a lot of anxiety, like what's going on, how it's going to impact me, is AI is going to take my job because suddenly the organization has bought this shiny AI tool.
Sure.
And I keep hearing about these layoffs, which leads to resistance
Hmm.
in complex transformations. Why do we need to change? We have been doing it for the last 20 years because leaders fail to convey why and how it's going to impact them,
Correct.
and how we need their help to move this change through, right?
Correct.
And once the leaders are in that mode, then ego kicks in,
Hmm.
which is the E.
Let's take a moment to kind of reflect on this part. A great way to look at it. So, stress, you're talking about chaos, anxiety, resistance, and ego. Everything being more negative towards the downward part of the spiral.
Yes.
And this is something that people even fail to recognize that they are in that zone. Let's put it in the honest. They try
Yeah.
to hide away. Everything is okay. Things are that. So you're seeing more people kind of shoveling this under the ground and saying that this is not in. Do you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. 100%. Because what happens is ego kicks in because they don't want to admit, and they stop listening and start defending,
Correct. Absolutely.
right? They don't even pay attention to that. So that's where the leaders need to shift from what I call scare to cares.
Mm.
Okay. CARES. Okay. The first one is communicate. The people right now, they don't need more information, they don't need more status reports, they need clarity. They need how this change is happening, why it's happening, and how it's going to impact them,
Right.
right? Have you clearly defined that vision, that roadmap for your team? Organizational change management is a huge part of that, right?
Correct.
You need to provide these five things. You have to have vision, you have to have incentives, like why do they need to change? You need to give them resources, you need to provide skills, you need to upskill them, and then you need to have an action plan. If you
Correct.
don't have that, this transformation is going to fail.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
A, A comes adapt.
Mm.
So many things are coming at us every single day. As leaders, are you resilient? Are you adapting?
Mm.
What most of the time, what I've seen is leaders adapt to the plans, but not to the people,
Mm.
right? So things are going to happen. Pressure is there. How are you adapting? There was COVID yesterday. Today it's AI. Tomorrow, quantum is coming at a very fast pace. Nobody is even paying attention to that, right?
Sure.
So how are you going to adapt with all these changes which are going to come at you? Whether it's a federal budget which is hitting, whether it's tariffs, all those things are going to come at you.
Hmm.
Are you adapting? Okay. R stands for relationships.
Hmm.
Now these transformations, they don't run on organizational charts.
Correct.
These transformations run by people,
Right.
how the team is going to come together. So, and one of the things one of the transformation which I shared, where my boss came to me and said, Sabi, have you ever jumped from a plane? uh, it was a complex transformation. Initially, business took the lead and never involved the technology. A
Hmm.
new leader comes in and say, okay, this is like a technology system. Technology, you need to take a lead on that. Now, how many times have that been successful? So one of the things which I've seen is the relationship is not there between the business and technology.
Right.
And this always happens. I give an example of this is when you're going through this transformation. Think about this: you're in a passenger van. Your team is sitting in the back. You're right there on the passenger seat. You navigating, providing direction, and all that. But guess what? Who's sitting on the driver's seat? It's the business.
Hmm.
If business is not sitting on the driver's seat, don't get into that passenger van.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
That's a
going to crash,
yeah.
and it's going to start finger pointing, right? So it's a relationship which needs to happen. So you need to have a good relationship with your team, with your business stakeholders, with your sponsors, with your vendor partners, right?
Absolutely.
So many times I have seen where leaders, because they start treating vendors not with respect but transactional.
Right.
But they need to understand there is a person behind that contract.
Correct.
And for us, that has helped me multiple number of times when you build that relationship
Sure.
with that vendor partner. So when I talk about relationships, I can keep going on. Relationship, I say, do you get relationships?
Yeah. I think it's very interesting you talk about relationships. Let's spend a moment on that because I mean, you see, I'm a strong proponent of business relationship management. We met at the Business Relationship Management Conference
Yeah.
in Portland. Um, I think in essence, it's not B2B or B2C, it's H to H. It's not
100%.
business to business or business to consumer, but it's human to human because we, as human, are social animals. We want to have the touch, feel, and make that part. And it's about relationships because you want to be a part of tribe. We want to be a part of a community. And that means that we need to spend time in building that authentic, meaningful relationships. And that's just where I think your personality also plays. And I mean, Savvy, to be honest, you're also being successful as a CIO and CISO because of your natural people skills. So one of the struggles that I've had with a lot of CIOs is they have technology skills, but they don't have that people skills. So they don't hone their people skills as they move into the management layer. Do you see that there's
You
a
know,
big gap?
it's, Suresh, I was never a people person,
Okay.
you know, growing up. But that's a shift which happens because most of the time we think about ourselves, right? Learn new technology, learn new things, how it's going to benefit me, right? You need to shift that mindset.
Right.
And the mindset is, what can I do to help this team member?
Right.
What can I do to help this individual? When you shift that mindset, the relationship starts happening, right? Because it's not for you, it's for your team, it's for your individuals, right?
Right.
So that's why I say, do you get relationships? Those are the three pillars: GET,
Hmm.
gratitude. Let's start with G,
Hmm.
get. G, gratitude. Are you thankful to the team members for the work which they are doing?
Hmm.
Then E comes the empathy.
Right.
If there's no empathy, there's no relationship,
Correct.
right? And empathy is three kind. One is when you see a team member going through a rough time, and you most of the times we are so busy in our own meetings in our own world, we don't even pay attention to our team members, right?
Right.
Paying that attention, like something is off today. And the second kind of empathy is when you go and have a conversation and say, what's going on, you look a little bit off today, and they
Hmm.
share their story, you can relate to that. But the most important, the third kind of empathy is you take an action. And
Hmm.
action is, what can I do?
Right.
How can I help? That's where you build that relationship. And the T in get relationship is trust. If there
Hmm.
is no trust, There's
Absolutely.
no relationship. It's the basic foundation.
Right.
So that's where you need to the in the cares framework, E comes in. Empower. Do you
Mm.
trust your team? Do you empower your team to get the things done?
Correct.
Stop doing micromanaging. Start providing support. Everybody needs different kind of support during through that journey. And then S at the bottom stands for stay calm.
Mm.
Right?
Excellent.
It is I will say the most useful tool a leader can use through any chaos,
Mm.
because you are the navigator. The team is going to get your energy.
Correct.
And if you are spinning, if you are in chaos, guess what? You're going to put the whole team in chaos. So stay calm, right? Take those pauses before responding. You know, take those breathing exercises. Do that, breathe, right? You're going into a meeting and go for a walk. Important meeting, go for a walk. Take few steps back, and because understand, not everything is under your control.
Correct.
We worry too much about so many things which are not even under our control. So
Absolutely.
figure out what is under your control, how you can respond to that rather than reacting, and then go from there. So
No, it's a
that's
great, yeah, it's a
yeah, that's
brilliant
the
way to
scare
look
to
at it.
cares for you. Sorry.
Excellent point of scarce to cares, and I think that's a great way to do it. But let's talk a little bit about the calmness, because with the level of turbulence that is coming today, it's absolutely insane to stay calm, because there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of butterflies on your stomach. There's a lot of board pressure. There's a lot of stress as a CIO, right? And everybody is trying to look at how are we pivoting across. And we saw all the stocks of IT companies going drastically down. There's a lot more pressure. So, how do you think that people can maintain that calmness? And how do you build that essential life skill from your perspective?
you know it it goes back down to what are your thought, how are you, what are you thinking, because your thoughts create your reality basically,
Right.
right? What words are you using in your regular conversation? Because if you say, I'm in chaos, guess what, you're attracting that energy. I'm a big believer in energy, and
Right.
you're going to attract that chaos in your life,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
So so separate that emotion from response,
Mm.
and you need to regulate that, right? Maybe you can start doing some meditation in the morning every
Mhm.
single day. Start doing some breathing exercise. Here's the interesting part which I learned, Suresh, is when the prefrontal cortex shuts down and you think you're making good decisions, you are not. You're just making decisions.
Mm.
No amount of meditation will bring you back. The only
Right.
thing which will open up that prefrontal cortex is a breathing exercise,
Mm.
right? So we think we can push through this chaos, but no.
Mm.
Pushing through the chaos is going to make it worse. You're
Right.
going to make it probably burn to the ground. Sometimes you have to take a pause and you have to step back.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
build that resilience routine as part of your daily check-in,
Sure.
right? Whether it's creating that simple ritual, whether it's slowing down your pace, whether you're going out into the nature, surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, who are more positive and support you, who are that sounding energy,
Yeah.
that will help you to stay
Awesome.
calm.
So, final question is looking ahead, like what should modern CIOs do differently to lead successful organization in the next decade? I mean, I don't know what's the next decade. Look at, probably quantum computing could be the big one in the next decade, but some of the basic fundamentals don't change. When I was remembering what Jeff Bezos says, we don't focus on new shiny things. We focus on things that never change. So, what's your prescription for a successful CIO to lead in the next decade?
That's what I have written the case for, because as you said, it's not B2B, it's not B2C,
Yeah.
it's H2S, right?
Right.
If you look at successful CIOs in the last 10, 15, 20 years, right, the way they have been able to lead their organizations through the change, through people, through this change, is what will make a CIO different,
Hmm.
right? Whether any kind of change is going through, whether it's AI, whether it's digital transformation or anything, You can start with cares.
Hmm.
Start caring for your team. Start communicating, adapting, build those relationships. Those are the key. Empower your team, build it, have that trust, build that trust within the team. And staying calm through this chaos will help any CIO or a CISO to go through this chaos, because then you have the ability to make good decisions, ability to absorb the challenges which are happening and lead your team through this change.
That's powerful, Sabi. And I think when I look at you, you're a perfect embodiment of that calmness to do things. So I believe that you can radiate that kind of smile to a lot of people. And I love your leadership part of it. And it's so important that the way you talked about impacting people. I hope you can impact a lot of people with your energy, with your thought, but also the volunteering that you're doing currently. It started with PMI, now we're doing with SIM. That's a big aspect of your life, isn't it? It's a big part of your overall identity, if I think, which is very different from rest of the people who are just in more on the corporate world. They're into the trenches, but you have to get out and meet different people to understand what else is going on and build that whole thing. So whatever you have developed as part of the scarce to cares framework, I think you have lived as a stand as an example, as an embodiment of work ethic that you have done. So that's why it resonates with people. You're a
Yeah.
powerful storyteller, and I've seen that when you did the purple cow, the leadership that you talked about. I always remember that very vividly when you presented it in Portland, Oregon. And the whole essence is that we need to become more human. As
Yes.
leaders, we are looking at not everything is under our control. Things can go hayward, but let's take the time to breathe. I love the part that you talked about breathing and taking a moment to think about things and get that part done. So for people, the cares are as a leader create clarity. The A is part of what we the element for us, what is a sorry for the
Adapt.
adapt to not just the plan but to people element as well, right?
Yeah.
And the R, my big power of relationships that we kind of run through it. E being empowering people, like which if you don't empower your people, you don't do micromanagement, give people the autonomy to lead them from the front, and that's the whole part of things. And the last one, I love it, is staying calm and composed is really a mark of a leader. So move from scared to cares is actually a brilliant framework, very aptly put across because people now remember jargons and acronyms much more easier than pages of wisdom. So I'm glad that you were able to share some powerful insights today.
Yeah. No, thank you for the opportunity. I had a great time. It's, again, it aligns with my purpose to uh, make as much impact as I can with these thoughts or with my speaking engagements or the opportunities which I get to be in front of into the folks. So thank you for that opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, Sabi. So, viewers, I hope you enjoyed this great Voice of CIO podcast with Sabi. You know how much powerful it is to talk to a leader who is very passionate to create an impact. And I hope you will subscribe to this channel and be a part of listening to our next episode of CIO series. Until then, stay tuned and keep learning. Remember, as a CIO, move from scares to a cares framework. So lovely talking to you, Sabi. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and thank you, all viewers.
Thank you.